We made 35 lakhs on Airbnb from these 3 properties without owning any of them. Now imagine if I did not have these properties. How much would I make if I started today? Would I actually make money, or it is just another overhyped side hustle? Today in this video, I am going to break down all the numbers, real costs, potential earnings, and some hidden expenses that you might not even be aware of. And some of these numbers will shock you. I'll take you through my entire process of finding a property that I can Airbnb on. I will discuss all the steps. I will show you my entire blueprint. And at the end, I will help you decide whether all these efforts are even worth it or not. This video is going to be super insightful, and all these insights take mehnat. So show some appreciation and hit that like button. And if you are new to the channel, do subscribe because I have a lot to share. So let's get into it and let me tell you all the steps. First step is finding a location. Now the moment I say the word Airbnb, my mind automatically rings to location. And rightly so, because location is the key factor to determining whether your Airbnb will be a success or not. Before any property, service, expense or falana dhimka, you need to work at a place where you will get the bookings. And that is determined by the location of your place. Now, it is true that Airbnb can work in any place on planet Earth. But some places definitely perform better than others, and you need to have an eye to look for them. Here are some factors that I consider while deciding on the location. Firstly, the place should have a regular demand for short-term rental. That means people are coming and going out on a regular basis. So no residential peace-loving colonies do not work here. What do work are tourism and business hubs. You see, these guys are usually not in town for weeks or months. They come, they do their job, they might visit a few places if they are tourists, and then they go. And for that couple of days, they need a good stay. This is exactly what we mean by short-term rental. Now, this might help you shortlist a state or even a country. But that doesn't mean you should start anywhere in Dubai or Goa. You need to optimize more, and there comes the second factor. A good location is near a tourist or business attraction. In Goa, it is beaches, churches. In London, it might be Big Ben or the metro areas. In Dubai, you have Palm Jumeirah, Burj Khalifa, then Mall. Okay, there are a lot of touristy places in Dubai, but you get the point that your place needs to be close to a tourist attraction where people would want to frequent their visit. Or at least it should be near a transportation so that the commute for your guests would be easier. Then the third factor is competition and occupancy. Now, if you see competition in an area, do not be scared of it. This is super important as it gives you a signal that the business is working there. Existing listings indicate that there is demand, but if there are too many of them, you might run the risk of an oversaturated market. Then I need to check state regulations. If they don't allow, then I am doomed. Society rules, property laws, target audience. Basically, there are hundreds of factors that will help me understand which location is optimum for me. If I have to give some examples of good markets in 2025, these would be first, Goa. Despite what people say, it is still buzzing. It has still good demand. Then comes Dubai, Tokyo, Palermo in Italy, Melbourne, Sydney, London. Now, I have done and have had practical experience in 2 of these markets. Rest, I picked up by talking to hosts. You tell me if these markets make sense or not. But in short, this step is finding and deciding the it location for your hustle. Okay, now that I've picked a location, the next step is finding a property. And there we have an important decision to make. Should I rent or should I buy a property for Airbnb? Well, let's consider both scenarios. Let's run some numbers and see what is feasible for me. So our option 1 is renting a property for Airbnb and doing it via subleasing. Now, I've talked a lot about rental arbitrage in a couple of my videos like this one or this one. There's a whole playlist. But here's why I like it. Firstly, the startup cost for my business would be really less. I just need to acquire a property via rent, pay the rent, maybe security deposit, and then I'll have that property and I can sublease it. I don't need to invest a lot of money in getting the property itself. Second, this model is flexible. Since I'm renting a property, I'm not buying it. That means I'm not married to it. So I can always head out if the property is not working for me on Airbnb. I have no commitment there and I can always head out to find better alternatives for my business. My financial investment in the property would not be high and that reduces the risk for me a lot. But at the same time, in this model, what I don't like is that I have to enter into a rental agreement with the landlord. And that has a couple of downsides. For example, the owner can be nosy. What if he doesn't like the way I'm conducting my business and he's constantly badgering me with a lot of questions, repairs or whatnot? Yes, I understand it's your property, but there's a way to run a business and I need independence of that. Second, a major risk. What if my lease does not get renewed? Suppose I've invested in this property, made it super comfortable, luxurious, and it's performing stellar on Airbnb. It's getting me good revenue, everything is perfect. Now, the owner suddenly decides that he doesn't want to do the lease agreement anymore. He wants to use it for some other purpose. That is a risk that I will always have with a rented property for my business. And third, there's no real asset that I'm owning in this model. I'm just renting a property and depending on the cash flow that is being generated from it. Now, these are some of the things that I like and not like about this model, but we'll have a clearer picture with some calculations that I've prepared. Now, for example, doing rental arbitrage in a metro city like Mumbai or Bangalore, let's take deposit and first month rent as an investment of 1 lakh rupees. Now, we can put in any amount of furniture, but let's take a conservative of 50k, more or less it will come around that only. Legal paperwork and miscellaneous expenses can come out to be around 20,000. Even in Goa, tourism license is a must. That can cost maybe 6k to 10k depending on your property type, location. All these factors are very variable. So these are just hypothetical numbers. But our total startup cost in this model can be around 1.7 lakhs approximately, very roughly. Now let's see option 2, buying a property for Airbnb. Here's why this might be a good idea. Firstly, you'll be owning an asset. You'll be investing in real estate. Now that investment over a long period of time will give you returns as the asset appreciates. That is a big pro. Even if nothing works out, your asset will always give you return. Second, there will be no headache of meeting rent, meeting expenses or breaking even every month. If I want to, I might or might not want to Airbnb in a particular month. My life, my rules. And thirdly, this asset can potentially become a source of passive income. I might hire a property manager to do the Airbnb thing for me, or I might even rent it out on long term. At least I'll be getting some rental every month. But also it might not be a very good idea because firstly, the ticket size is really big. I have to put in a lot of money to get the property in my name. The investment can be anywhere from 90 lakhs to 1 CR, 2 CR, 3 CR depending on the property that I want and what vision do I have with this. Second, buying a property is not as easy as it seems. Even when you buy it, after that you have to meet your EMIs, you have to pay mortgages. If you don't do that, then that real estate can go out of your hands. And third, maintenance cost for a property can be high. Whether it's a flat, it might not be that high in that case, but still a substantial amount if it's in a good society. And for villas, you need to pay a good amount every year. If we run some rough calculation for this model, well, for a 1 BHK in a prime location, approximately the property cost can be around 80 lakhs. That's really conservative. You have stamp duty, you have Falana Dhimka kind of fees. We are not considering that at the moment. Once we get the property, our EMI for a 20-year loan at 8% interest would be around 66,000 per month. Then we'll have to get the interiors done. We'll have to do all the kinds of setup. That cost will come around to be 5 lakhs. So total monthly cost, including maintenance and taxes, will be 75k. Now this is a very simple conversation that I had about both these models. There's more to it when we compare both. But if I have to take a decision at the current stage of my life, my priorities are quite clear. Firstly, I don't have that much capital to invest in a property, so buying a property would be a huge headache for me. Second, I don't want to be stuck with a bad property and end up having to pay EMIs or loans, and that property is not even giving me enough cash flow to meet these EMIs or loans. So the decision is quite clear. Unless you have long-term investment money, renting is always smarter. Now, how do I find such rentals? Simple. I use online property broker platforms like Magic Bricks or 99 Acres. Find good deals in the areas that I had previously decided. Talk to the owners, talk to the brokers and sign the lease. Okay, now that I found the location and the property, next comes the analysis step. that is understanding expenses. So broadly, I would have these expenses: rent, caretaker salary, laundry, Wi-Fi and other utility. Now these are common heads that even you would have thought of from the top of your head. But what most hosts miss out on are hidden expenses. Even if the amounts are small, they pile up, and at the end of the year, you realize that you have exceeded your budget much more than you would have preferred. Now, some hidden expenses to be taken into consideration and where I have spent my money are firstly the maintenance costs, such as deep cleaning. Regular cleaning might not be enough. You need to get your property deep cleaned, especially if it's in an area near the beach or where dust accumulates a lot. Second, guest damages and replacements. That happens to me every month. Every month I'm spending for something that the guest had damaged or they had taken home, like spoons, cutlery, small things. So my expenses for those are now regular. Third, listing fee and service charges. Now each property that you list your property on has its own service charge. Booking.com has 15%, VRB has around 15%, Airbnb takes 3% of each booking that you make. So these are also the charges that you need to consider when you're listing your property. You can be smart and optimize your such costs. For example, if you know that you need to get deep cleaning done every 2 or 3 months, finding a good cleaning service that specializes in deep cleaning can be highly helpful, as they can offer you good discounts and you build a relationship with them. Now, as I discussed on my earlier video, my average monthly expenses for my 2 BHK apartment comes out to be around this much. Now comes the most exciting step. How much will I make from this whole affair? Well, to begin with, we have to look at two metrics. First is average daily rental of my property, and second is occupancy rate. The math formula is simple. Revenue is equal to my average daily rental rate multiplied by my occupancy rate. So for instance, in South Goa, a 2 BHK apartment, if it has an average daily rental rate of 4,000 and occupancy is 60% on an average, that means 18 nights in a month are booked. That makes my average monthly revenue as 72,000 by this formula. Now deducting my calculated expenses as I discussed in the previous section, my profit approximately would be around 22k per month. Now, a point to note here is that I've taken average rent and average occupancy. With the right marketing techniques and with seasonality, the revenue can be increased manifold. Now, before we wrap up the discussion of this step, as an experienced host, I want to hint here that the revenue doesn't entirely depend on occupancy rate. Even a less occupied property can generate thousands of dollars or lakhs in revenue if the pricing strategy is done well. Now that is a separate topic in itself. It requires a separate video and discussion. Let me know if you would want me to make a video on that. But this is the broader idea to calculate revenue and your profit margin. Now sometimes to get the idea of average daily rental in my area, there are a lot of tools available in the market such as Price Labs or AirDNA. You need to find what works for you. Maybe you can take assistance from these tools as well. Now this step is overlooked, but I would say it is as crucial as finding a good location for your Airbnb. You see, anyone can make revenue and cut out a decent profit of 10 to 12%. But the game is in making real money in profit. Therefore, maximizing your profits becomes super crucial. There are various strategies to do so, and marketing is one of them, but definitely not the only one. And even if you market well, what matters is conversion and operation optimization. Here are some ways that I try to do so. First is optimizing my Airbnb listing. That automatically translates into having good photographs and a good name out there. By name, I mean SEO optimization. If I have a target audience for my 2 BHK apartment in mind, that is mostly families and people who are looking for a getaway, I would add what these people need in my Airbnb name. Comfort, relaxing, Goa, all these are keywords that people would be searching for on Google when they look for a stay here. Second is automation, especially around your on-ground operation. Guests love convenience. And you know what is not convenient? Having to wait for a caretaker to bring the keys while you're standing outside the property with all the luggage. Therefore, having smart locks to give more flexibility to the guests to come in whenever they want, however they want, and leaving behind the headache of keys can be a good option to consider, provided it suits your needs. And third is discounts. Now this is a no-brainer. I want to make guests happy and give them incentives to stay more with me. Therefore, I offer weekly or monthly discounts or even some specific period discounts that they might be looking for. That is not eating into my pockets as well. I'm getting more revenue. Plus, I'm building a long-term relationship with them. Okay, now while all of this sounds really exciting, doing Airbnb in 2025 is quite different than starting 1, 2, 3 or even 5 years ago. Like every industry, this area has also undergone a lot of changes. The rules that dominate the industry have changed. If I were to start from scratch right now, these are some things that I would keep in mind. Firstly, the focus has now shifted to creating experiences. Today, a lot of people are now more aware of Airbnb, the scope it has, and the possibility of making additional money from their house. If you have nice bedrooms, nice living room, nice kitchen, your competition also has it and they are already putting it out there. So just having these basic amenities like Wi-Fi, TV, good rooms, good linen and all will not cut it. You need to create an impression on your guests to make them keep coming back to you. For that, you need to create an experience. Maybe it's stellar hospitality. Maybe it's the extra service that you're giving with your stay. So creating a wholesome experience for your guests has become more crucial than just providing a room for stay. Second, if I were to start right now, what I would simply do is I would look at the places around me. I would match the amenities being offered by them, and then I would add something unique from my side to my property to stand out amongst the competitors. But here, the matching part is important. Now, like I said in the previous point, everybody has nice bedrooms, nice living room, nice kitchen, TV, Wi-Fi. So you are being judged on all the extra stuff that you're providing. That doesn't mean that you cut out on the basic stuff. For instance, if your competition is offering pool, then you also need to add pool. Otherwise, you will not be getting any bookings in that area. But the additional touch that you can give is maybe providing pool essentials or maybe including board games in the stay for people to chill after they have had their swims. All these small things, these small perks will make your property stand out. And third, it might sound ironical, but I would stop relying only on Airbnb. Let me tell you a short story. So last month, I got a booking for a week long from a group of 8 people. Now that meant a revenue of around 80 to 90,000 easily. But when they made a query on Airbnb, suddenly the platform glitched and I was not able to respond to them properly. Thankfully, these people were able to find me on other platforms. They contacted me on IG, they made their questions and went ahead with the booking. If that booking had not gone through, that would have meant a loss of 90,000. Well, not exactly 90,000, but still at least 50,000 because a week-long booking is not easy to get. My point here is that Airbnb is like a job and you can get fired anytime. The platform might start glitching like it happened with me. It might go down completely. What will you do if your whole business is on one platform itself? Therefore, diversification is really important and having direct booking channels is super important. When you start, you might not get a lot of leads. It might be like only 5 or 10% and you might think that why to go through such headache when I'm getting such leads already. I was there. But this incident has made me realize that having a direct connection is really important. And even if I don't get much in start, surely, steadily, I will be able to build and then I can stop stressing on whether Airbnb is showing my property on its feature page or not. Now, after all this story narration, do I think it is worth Airbnb-ing in 2025? Well, my opinion is yes, if it is done smartly. You see, Airbnb and any other business is an evolving game. The rules that worked 10 years ago don't now, and what gives us win today will not do so 10 years from now. Having said that, there is huge potential in this space if you are willing to work hard. If you're serious about it, I have added some tools in the description. Do ensure to check them out. I hope you liked this video. I hope you were able to get some insights. And if you are still contemplating the idea, I hope this video helped you get more clarity. Do give it a like to show support and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you on the next one.